Now 7 p.m., Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, and I call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Cindy, will you please lead the roll? Call vote.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Present.
Garrels,
Here.
Hilbert,
Present.
Meadows,
Present.
Sliger,
Present.
Swasicki,
Present.
Arlandu,
Here.
Thank you. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Tom, are there any items to add or remove from the agenda?
None at this time.
Does the board have any questions or comments on that? I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
Moved.
So moved by Raquel, second by?
Second.
Second by Aaron. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Swasicki,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, item number 3 technically, but the first big one is approval of student board members to office. So this year, the board made a decision to modify the board student ambassador program, and under Danielle and Rob, they proposed under Danielle and Rob, they proposed and the board approved a student board member model. Can we have Claire Lindstrom and Arno, I'm gonna butcher it and I apologize. How do you say it? Dutois, come to the podium. Thank you. Should have asked that in advance. Danielle and Rob, would you like to introduce?
Sure. Just to start off, we had 14 amazing and qualified candidates who applied. I think we interviewed 13 total. And there was a really diverse background of experiences, reasons for running, but all seemed to kind of center around the true desire to bring student voice to our decision-making process and to advocate for one another. We had many ideas shared with us on how to reach other students at BHS and at our younger schools, Rotolo and the elementary schools, and a collective understanding of why it's important to center all voices, even those that they do not agree with. One common thread was in the question of what students would say are critical issues regarding their education. We heard the growing hardship of balancing academics with extracurriculars in their personal life, and the other was the need for diverse learning environments. There's no doubt that every one of these students has a desire and drive to help better the academic environment and successes for their peers, and would be fantastic in a leadership role. With that said, Rob and I had a really hard task to only pick 2. And I think these 2 students stood out not only in their interviews, but also in their questionnaires. Rob and I placed both of these students as our top candidates. So when we came to it, we landed with both of you guys for our junior and our senior. I have the pleasure of introducing Claire Lindstrom, who we recommend to serve our first 2-year term as an incoming junior. Claire had reviewed our meeting minutes, watched our board meetings. She came truly prepared and seemed to grasp what a student board member's role would be. You were genuinely excited about the idea of what this would grow into, and I think that caught my attention personally. I can genuinely feel that, and to reach out to our younger students, it's something that we haven't been able to do, and I want to say how much I appreciate that, and I'm just so hopeful for what that brings. And I think another thing that stood out was, we really wanted to ensure that this position does not take away from your all's academic success. It doesn't make you stretch even thinner, especially hearing that feedback. Claire, I love your calendar. I love the fact that you are ready to go. There is no doubt in our mind that you are ready to go, that you are going to embrace this opportunity. And I think that you will be able to advocate if you need to pivot and let us know. And I think we are very, very, very comfortable, and we're just really proud of this opportunity and to invite you on.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. This is really exciting.
Okay. All right, board and audience. I want to introduce you to Arnaud Duteau. He's probably going to have his name pronounced like 10 different ways. But a little bit about Arnaud. He's a well-rounded student, first of all, and let me say, he's the rising junior. So Danielle pointed out that Claire, our rising senior, Claire will be the rising junior, and she'll serve a 2-year term. So as we start this program, one negative, I guess you could say, is Arnaud is only going to have 1 year within the program. But going forward, each person that fills these roles will have 2 years of experience in that. But we know he's going to do a great job. But a little bit about Arnaud, well-rounded student. Athletics-wise, he's involved in football, track and field, wrestling, rugby. So I think he's pretty busy all season long. I think that covers all the seasons. Other activities, so he's already got a lot of experience in this area of being involved in school leadership. So he's been a part of the principal advisory group, student council. He's also participated in I don't want to mess it up here, but it's a 2026 Kane County Youth Voices on Mental Health, and he was a key contributor there. In fact, his letter of recommendation from Erin Hack, who's a counselor at the high school, she made this statement about Arnaud. From the moment I met Arnaud, he distinguished himself through his thoughtful engagement, intellectual curiosity, and genuine respect for others' perspective. He's not only articulate in expressing his own ideas, but he actively seeks out and considers opposing viewpoints. So for me, a couple key things there. Genuine respect for other perspective, and he actively seeks out and considers opposing viewpoints. So I think those are going to be two key characteristics for this position. We want that student voice, but we don't want it to be isolated. We want these individuals, these students, to go and engage with their fellow students and make sure they're getting all perspectives regarding an issue. So with that, I'm going to say I would also recommend that, along with Claire, I'll also approve Arnaud as our student board reps for the 26-27 school year.
Does any board member have any comments or questions?
I'd just like to say welcome and thank you to Danielle and Rob for interviewing the candidates. I know you had a lot of tough choices. One thing I would like to throw out to the board is I think it would be good for our student board members to have a mentor, one of us to be a mentor for them, just as they transition and is on their own board, just to have a sounding board and someone they can go to if they have questions.
It's a great idea. Yep.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, my only thing is to echo Erin's appreciation for you two for all the hard work. This was really spearheaded by you guys. Danielle, I know you did some extra work even to start it off, so thank you very much for your time and effort in that, and for you guys to really spearhead this and carry it through and do those evaluations and kind of expedite this process, because we were up against a clock a little bit, so we appreciate all of those efforts. And I'm not going to get ahead, but presuming this goes the way everybody expects, congratulations in a minute. So I will entertain a motion to approve the addition of Claire Lindstrom and Arnaud Duteau to the Office of Student Board Members.
So moved.
So moved by Katie, second by Rob.
Rob, so moved.
Oh, did he need you?
Katie will second.
Oh, I misheard that. Okay, thank you. The other way around. Let's do it the right
Right.
way. Thank you for correcting that. All right, Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Sliger,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Kilbert,
Yes.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Motion passes. Congratulations. We'll figure out where you sit later. That's not a today thing.
We're gonna do a picture,
Photo.
guys.
No, I'm getting out of the way. Yeah, you guys usually.
That'd be a great
I'm out of
picture
the
right
way.
here.
Do they have to do enough? Do they have to
I'll
do
get
enough?
behind you guys.
August. make sure parents get theirs.
Sorry. All right, well, that was fun. All right, item 4, recognition of Jen Hicks. Brad, would you please do the honors?
We have a couple little appreciations for Jen. Jen started student teaching in the district 35 years ago. She has carried many titles since then, teacher. She was a division coordinator when that was a title back in the day. She was an assistant principal, an associate principal. And in 2000, when the world kind of fell apart a little bit, she became the principal of the largest elementary school in Batavia, which was the Batavia Virtual Academy when we went online. So Jen took that on. She made it absolutely incredible experience for our students, and that really is the hallmark of Jen's leadership, is giving students an amazing experience. She's so focused on that. She's a true inspiration to all of our district. Her leadership is marked by kindness, gentleness, and a firm belief in our students that they can do anything. And I'm so appreciative of working with her the past years, and we're going to miss her quite a lot. So the district has a little plaque for you, Jen. And then also for all of our retirees in the district, we have a middle school teacher who does woodworking, and he makes these cutting boards so that when they're cooking or doing something in their kitchen, they can remember us here in Batavia. So, thank you.
I would just like to thank the Board of Education, the Batavia school community, and my family for this acknowledgement and support throughout my career. It's been a true honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a mark right there, right? On the slide behind you.
For being here? Yeah.
Do all that stuff. Just, you're a dude, sometimes we forget stuff.
Well, I appreciate it. No,
Trying to
you're
be a good.
I
make
have
you
your
look
help
good
for
in front-
another how many months?
All right, next is approval of administrative new hires. Item 5.1, approval of hiring a new principal at RMS. Steve?
Yeah, so right here we have Josh Lewis, who we are recommending for approval for the Rotolo Middle School principal job. Josh has a lot of experience. He's a current standing middle school principal. He's been an elementary principal. And he was, this doesn't happen a lot, but when we go through our process, he was the unanimous #1 choice of every single person on the RMS team, which was made up of both BEA and VESPA members. And then he met with our cabinet and Tom, and he came forward as the right hire. He is a very proud Batavia graduate. And Batavia resident, and I think his family's back here, right? You guys can come on up, let's go, come on up, we can say hi to them. I guess they don't like.
They don't want to.
And he has his own Batavia BPS 101 students, so they all made it out today, so so that's the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the hiring of Joshua Lewis for the position of principal of Rotolo Middle School on a 3-year contract beginning July 1st, 2026.
So moved.
So moved by Rob,
Second.
second by Aaron. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Swisicki,
Abstain.
Sliger,
Abstain.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Abstaining due to spouse working at the middle school.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Garrels.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Welcome to the family.
Well, just a few short remarks here, but members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Kim, and cabinet members, thank you for this opportunity. It is deeply meaningful to return to a community that played such an important role in shaping who I am. To come back and serve in this capacity is both humbling and an honor. I look forward to building on the strong traditions that define Rotolo Middle School and to serving our students, families, and community with care, commitment, and pride. Thank you. Oh, family photo, right? Get in here. Oh, we're in the front.
Go in the back.
All right, in 3, 2, perfect. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
One more. Okay, item 5.2, approval of hiring of a new director of curriculum and multilingual learning. Steve, would you please introduce and walk us through that? Or Brad, or
Turn it
whomever.
over to Brad.
So we had, when we posted this job, this is a big job for our district, and when we posted this job, there were nearly 50 applicants that all had a wide range of experiences and expertise, but Lizette rose to the top of that. We're really excited to have her. She served in many capacities in school systems, as a teacher, assistant principal, the director of multilingual learning, and we're really excited to bring her expertise to Batavia. We think she's going to be a great fit, and that's why we are recommending Lizette Jacobson for the new Director of Curriculum and Multilingual Learning position.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments? Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve the hiring of Lisette Jacobson for the position of Director of Curriculum and Multilingual Learning on a 3-year contract beginning July 1st, 2026. So moved by Raquel,
Second.
second by Kristen. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passes. Welcome to the family. Thank you.
Hello.
All right.
So I'd like to start off by saying thank you to the Board of Education, Superintendent Kim, and everyone who participated in the interview process. Let me tell you, it was rigorous. And throughout that process, it became very apparent to me that Batavia just is that place that students are at the forefront of all of the conversations, and I look forward to being a part of that. Your strategic plan seems to have a lot of momentum, and those kinds of systems and goals really get me excited. And interestingly enough, my high school alma mater, we were also the Bulldogs, so with that, go Bulldogs.
Thank you. Okay, if that wasn't fun enough, we're on to celebrations. So first one is AFS Medallion Award. The Medallion Program is a U.S. Department of State program that recognizes high schools that foster global understanding by hosting exchange students participating in programs from the State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. Over the years since the scholarship program were instituted, BHS has hosted numerous AFS students, many of whom were on scholarships. This year, BHS is hosting 2 flex students through AFS. They are from Serbia and Lithuania, and are here to introduce those students is Robin Lang, an AFS volunteer.
Well, hello, good evening. My name is Robin Lang, and I am an AFS volunteer. I've been one for a very long time. And we are here to congratulate and thank Batavia High School for their long involvement with hosting international exchange students. Are all of you familiar with AFS? Raise your hand if you are. Oh, or our history? Okay, well, since 1959, Batavia High School has hosted 123 AFS students and sent more than 40 American students abroad. But since the 2001, many of them have also been here on those scholarships that were just named. Each year, more than 2,000 extraordinary young people from around the world receive these highly competitive and merit-based scholarships to study in a U.S. school. The Medallion Membership School Program is a recognition that the U.S. Department of State has created for schools that enroll these students. These future leaders include students who participate in a Congress Bundestag for Youth program, the Future Leaders Exchange Program, which these 2 are on, and the Youth Exchange and Study program. Host schools like Batavia help build diplomatic bridges with other nations by leaving positive, lasting impressions of the United States on their exchange students, which we have done this year. Batavia has hosted 22 of these students from 18 different, very diverse countries. Tonight we have 2 of those students here to present the medallion certificate. I will let them introduce themselves, and then we'd like to present this certificate to Dr. Is Dr. There we are. The girls were saying, we don't see our principal. So I'll let them start with.
Hi everyone, my name is Sasha Ivanovic and I'm from Serbia.
And my name is Ugna Maria Grigitita and I'm from Lithuania. We would like to thank the BHS staff, the teachers, the school board, for welcoming us to the school, for allowing us this opportunity to come to the U.S. and to making this a very welcome environment from the very beginning and allowing us to join your communities and experience all kinds of different things.
We learned a lot of things during this year. We've taken so many different classes that we don't have back home, like business, marine science, which helped us choose our career in the next few years. And we also joined a lot of activities like sports and clubs. And we just really like the environment and the difference between our schools back home and here. Like, now that when we talked to our friends back home, everybody was like, wow. Like, they're really surprised at the way you guys teach here and the way we learn a lot more stuff. And we have a choice of what we want to learn, rather than just, like, academics, but also, like, electives.
We joined a variety of sports like cheer, track, and tennis. So it was really fun joining them, and that Batavia even provided us with the opportunity to join them, looking at the fact that it's really competitive in the United States, which now we're going to pursue some of the sports when we go back to our countries.
And then finally, we would like to present this certificate of appreciation to our principal, Dr. Jane Smith.
That was longer. All right. Next celebration is 2026 Educator of the Year nominees. We welcome Diane Cronin and Chad Clary to the podium. Where are they?
Next sentence.
Oh. Yeah, I understand also that Amy Miller isn't able to join us this evening. She was one of our nominees this year. Each year, the Kent County Regional Office of Education invites school districts to nominate outstanding school staff members for Educator of the Year recognition. We're incredibly proud to share that Batavia Public Schools District 101 is represented this year by 3 exceptional nominees, Diane Cronin, Amy Miller, and Chad Clary. BPS 101 is filled with dedicated educators who go above and beyond for students each and every day, and these individuals exemplify that commitment. Tonight, we are honored to recognize them and express our sincere gratitude for the passion, care, and impact they bring to our students and schools every day.
I lost at rock, paper, scissors in the parking lot. Did you want to say anything?
For the nomination, it was quite an honor.
Absolutely. We work in a fantastic school district, and we're a small part of a fantastic team of teachers, educators, and support personnel that work in your district. And getting closer to retirement, I'm most excited to say that I feel like we're leaving the district better than we found it 30 years ago. So grateful for all the work that our friends here do and that you do for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Photo.
The last one, I think, I hope. All right, we are going to take a couple of minute break, so about 5 minutes. So feel free to get a drink of water, and I will pause for 5 minutes and be right back. Thank you. All right. anything to share this evening? Gonna take that as a yes.
Let's get this out of the way now. Yes, you can take a picture with me after I'm It's fine. I did my hair just for the occasion. There's a lot of shout outs and thank yous, congratulations based off of the past like 25 minutes there. But in particular, Diane, Chad, and Amy, thanks for representing our district. And I want to say welcome to Lizette and Josh as well. On their positions for next year. We're going to go through a very similar process next year at the high school when Dr. Smith transitions out to RJAC. And I've said this before, I really appreciate the opportunity that the district gives us to make sure that our staff has voice in that process. And, you know, that shares to our staff that our voices are valued, appreciated, and respected. So let's keep doing that, please. All right, congratulations are in order for the graduating class of 2026, and I'm very much looking forward to celebrating with them at tomorrow night's graduation ceremony. It's hard to believe that that's already tomorrow. I'd like to give a specific shout out to graduating seniors Joshua Patterson and Charlotte Severson, who are the recipients of our BEA scholarship. Josh will be taking diesel technician training at Wyotech Trade School, and Charlotte will be studying special education at Aurora University, and each of them will be receiving $2,000 towards their education through our scholarship. So congratulations to both of them. The class of 2026 is a really, really special group of kids if you've had the joy of being able to work with them. And it might sound a little cliche, but if these are the people that are going to be our future leaders, then I'm very much convinced that the future is indeed bright. A really good group of kids. So all that being said, as we look towards next school year and beyond, I want to reiterate what I said to you at the March board meeting, because I think this is something that is going to be at the forefront of our discussions for the foreseeable future. In the face of economic uncertainty pretty much popping up anywhere that you look right now, we must make sure that our resource allocation is fundamentally rooted in investing in our students, and that means investing in our staff as well. Finally, to our BA members, union educators like you are what make this district strong. You're a shining example of what's so special about BPS 101. You lift each other up, stand strong for what's right, and show up for your students every single day. I hope all of you get a chance to slow down and enjoy your incredibly well-earned summer break. Good night and good luck, and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, Holly, I assume we have people wishing to address the board?
We do. We have
Okay.
9 people.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 11 people.
Okay. Welcome to the meeting of the Board of Education. If anyone else wishes to address the board this evening, please see our recording secretary submit a form for addressing the board. Please put your full name and address on that form. In general, the board does not answer questions or engage in dialogue during public comment. This does not mean that you do not take your concerns or comments seriously. The board values active community participation in the district's endeavors and encourages people to engage in district using appropriate channels and systems designed with your input in mind. Board members are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the district and cannot engage in district business individually. If you do have specific questions or would like to further engage with the district, you may submit your questions using the link on the website, and the appropriate staff member will communicate with you. Holly, would you please start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you, President Meadows. Speakers will be called up in order of form submission. The first form received is the first person invited to speak. When your name is called, please come to the podium so that you can be heard. All individuals speaking will be limited to 3 minutes. A 3-minute timer will be started once you are settled at the podium. At any time during this meeting, written comments may be submitted to Cindy Rodriguez to my right. Speakers should conduct themselves with civility and respect toward others. Our first speaker is Megan Kuba.
Hi, my name is Megan Kuba. I'm the parent of a 3rd grader at Louise White, and I'm here to speak about Chromebook use in the district. I've asked multiple people that work in the school and the administration exactly how much time our kids spend on their Chromebooks each day, and so far, no one has been able to answer that question. If we don't know how much time is being spent, how do we know if it's developmentally appropriate for their age? There are reports that Chromebooks are allowed during lunch in some schools. Sometimes they are used to fill downtime or as a reward when a worksheet or a project is finished. This constant access to the internet is eliminating time for imagination, social time, critical thinking, and self-regulation. These are the skills our children need to become successful adults. We have started a parent advocacy group called Distraction Free Batavia to promote the use of intentional technology in schools. We currently have a petition with over 500 signatures of parents that would like things to change. The district should set clear boundaries and policies for the use of tech, otherwise it's blocking real-life experiences when it's used as a crutch and to fill every free moment. Recently, the Evanston-Skokie School District blocked YouTube access on student devices. The filters we have in place do not block all inappropriate content, and YouTube is a huge distraction for students. This seems like a good first step to create a better learning environment. I would also like the board to take another look at the learning apps being used. Some of them are video game-like in the way they use dopamine hits, earning badges, and incentives to keep kids on the screen. Research has shown engagement is not the same thing as learning. This type of app can make it difficult for students to switch to less stimulating activities that require deep focus, patience, and endurance. Things like reading a book, writing a paper, or learning a new math concept. Our learning app should be backed by independent research showing they actually improve learning. Data provided by these companies sometimes is not accurate. There's plenty of research showing how much better retention and comprehension are when reading text on paper, along with how beneficial writing things by hand are for memory and how much more enjoyable reading a printed text is as opposed to reading from a screen. We know excessive screen time, especially on one-to-one devices, is overstimulating. It can lead to anxiety, behavioral issues, and reduced attention spans. The district needs to evaluate if what is happening in the schools is the best for learning and for our kids' well-being. Thank you so much for your time.
Next, we have Kathleen Meeks.
Superintendent Kim, members of the board, my name is Kathleen Meeks. I'm a Batavia parent, community member, public school educator. My husband teaches in this district. My daughter attends HG Storm, and my son will be joining her this coming school year. I appreciate the time, unpaid labor, and care that goes into many of your roles and recognize the difficulty of the decisions before you. Here to share, I'm deeply concerned by the direction and cumulative impact of programming decisions currently being discussed by this administration. For example, HG Storm, some of the most diverse needs in the district, some of the highest opportunity gaps, and houses the district's EL program. Yet there's discussion about decreasing class sizes at some of the grade levels, again, eliminating the EL kindergarten and first grade program, cutting a valued educator at HG Storm with a provisional license without offering an opportunity to interview, and consolidating or reducing interventionist positions at all schools. At the same time, there appears to be little discussion around reducing enrichment opportunities. My own child benefits from enrichment programming, but I also don't want her to experience an educational advantage at the expense of her peers who also need and deserve support. This is antithetical to the promise of public education, and I don't want her or any student receiving the implicit message that some students matter more than others. These don't feel like isolated decisions. Together, they send a message about what and who is considered expendable. Additionally, the district continues expanding access to technology and screen-based learning at increasingly younger ages. We all now know there is growing research connecting excessive screen use to weaker academic outcomes, decreased attention spans, and increased mental health concerns among children and adolescents. This comes off of an additional concern that arose when I attended my son's kindergarten orientation last month and was informed that all kindergartners will also be receiving one-to-one devices and will be on them 30 minutes a day at school. As both an educator and parent, I worry about the broader message this sends regarding district priorities. Research consistently shows that students, especially younger students and students with greater academic or socioeconomic needs, benefit most from relationships, small group instruction, language-rich environments, intervention support, and meaningful human connection. Yet we are simultaneously discussing reducing the very human supports that help students remain engaged, connected, and successful in school. People cannot simply be replaced by devices with larger class sizes. Many, including myself, have shared how other districts are making more robust changes in technology and cell phone use in schools, and how my own district that I teach at made simple policy changes last summer, which we were easily able to implement in the fall of this year. Finally, I also want to acknowledge the growing lack of trust many families feel toward the district process itself. With limited transparency and little meaningful community input, it creates a perception that these decisions are being made in a way that overwhelms staff and families before they can fully respond. Whether intentional or not, that perception and impact matters. Trust is built when communities feel heard, informed, and genuinely included before decisions are finalized, especially decisions that affect the students with the greatest needs. I urge the board to reconsider the cumulative impact of these changes to prioritize smaller class sizes, early EL support, intervention services, educator opportunities, and student-centered learning environments rooted in human connection rather than increased dependence on screens. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Peebles.
Before I get started, I have a handout, and you can pass it around and see what I'm going to talk about tonight. As you heard, my name's David Peebles, lifelong resident here at Batavia, except for the 2 years I was in the Army, also a graduate of Batavia High School. I have a direct connection to Batavia schools since my dad was a music teacher for 30 years in the school system. He was a triple threat: orchestra, band, and choir. orchestra degree from Northwestern, band degree from Vandercook, and choir from North Park. I'm here because I'd like to donate what I've just passed around, a piano to the high school, because they have 10 practice rooms, and they use electronic pianos because they don't have to tune them. However, a regular piano they need one of those, because if you're a serious student, that is the way to go. My dad's first instrument was violin, his second was piano. So he knows quite a bit he knew a lot about that. I also helped out in finding instruments for the school. We found a grand piano. I found a grand piano, and Dr. Hitchens said, be sure to get that. So we got it for the school, and they used it for a number of years. Myself, I'm getting older, as you can see, and I don't play the piano. My mom played piano, and my dad was the great piano player. I was a percussionist. So anyway, I'm being willing to donate that accordingly. Conclusion, I thank the board, the teachers, for another school year in educating the future citizens of the USA. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Courtney Hayes.
Hello. All right, I'm going to try to talk quickly because I'm going to fill my full 3 minutes here. I will back him up, though. We need a real piano. Okay, so very quickly, there had been a post about a transgender politician. I wanted to say that I highly support the post. It ended up getting deleted because of hateful comments, and I just wanted to express that we should continue to teach those things in our school. We have a legal obligation to teach things like that, and to make sure that students, families, and staff feel safe and welcome in our schools. And so the actionable point to that would be, what are we doing to make sure that our trans and queer families feel safe and included? I also wanted to say that neurodiversity affirmative practices are not district-wide, and I would really love to see that. And I will back up the point earlier about aides and interventionists being so important to our schools. Okay, that's my first 3 things. I'll try to breathe. My main point I want to talk about is continuing to hire Ms. Cesaroni, and I'm going to try not to cry or look at you. As a full-time kindergarten teacher, anywhere in our district, preferably at HC Storm where we are, and if we do that, consider maybe giving a temporary 1-year approval while she has her provisional license, knowing that this is not something that necessarily we're going to approve for everybody with a provisional license, but in her case, she is the exception, and this would be a 1-year opportunity for her to meet the full standard. I'm going to quickly talk about all the reasons why. She has 2 years of experience in this job in Batavia Public Schools, and she would be at a salary step that has lower pay because she has been in Richmond and not licensed. So it's beneficial from a financial perspective. We're saving money by hiring her. We know the quality of her work. There's 0 risk. She has 2 years of demonstrated classroom success following the curriculum, taking data and demonstrating positive learning outcomes via standardized assessments and hands-on functional skills in the classroom. Staff and parents would give strong recommendations for her, and already have. She is focused on relationship building with students and families, and we want the continuity of staff. Recent concerns have included the use of screens and technology. She's the exact opposite of that. She's very hands-on. She is very movement-based in her learning and provides many sensory experiences. That's exactly the type of educator that we want in our schools. She focuses on social emotional outcomes and growth in our youngest learners, and on universal design so that all students benefit, including those with IEPs, and then also implements those same strategies, I can't look at you, for every student. I mean, truly implements them for everyone in a really true way that that affects everyone. She's implemented homeschool connection activities with interdisciplinary support throughout the school, involving parents in those social emotional outcomes. She has her provisional license from ISBE. This requires the same content exam as the Pell. She's already passed it. In fact, the ISBE actually converts the provisional license into the Pell. So we know that she has a documented timeline, and we can already see her success generalizing to the classroom. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Juliet Delavia.
Good evening. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you for all the time that you give our district. I'm a parent here. I have 3 children, and as of tomorrow night, I will have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary kid. So we're in the thick of it. I'd like to briefly talk to you about student Chromebook use, particularly at the elementary and middle school level, since I haven't had experience with a high schooler yet. Many families appreciate that students have access to technology, but we're also seeing some consistent challenges. At home, parents have very limited ability to guide how devices are used, especially when it comes to distractions like YouTube or general browsing, when they're supposed to be working on, using the resources that we provide them, like IXL. Right now, our only real option is to turn off the internet access entirely, which isn't practical or balanced. We're also hearing that during the school day, some instructional time can be spent managing device use, and that students are often able to work around restrictions. That creates challenges for both teachers and families in maintaining consistent expectations. I've learned that the district uses Lightspeed systems, which includes tools that could help address these concerns. For example, it appears possible to provide parents with the ability to pause devices or set limits at home, restrict YouTube to approved educational channels, or apply stronger controls by grade level. Apply more consistent filtering during the school day to reduce the need for active monitoring. Support more developmentally appropriate and intentional screen use. So I guess my question would be, is there an opportunity to provide parents with access to these tools, even as an opt-in option or pilot program? I don't see this as limiting technology. I know that we need to use technology, but I also think that we're the adults here. Our kids are not. They don't understand what it can do to their brains, do to their systems, and I feel like we have a role that we need to fulfill, a responsibility that we need to show them that there are responsible ways to use screens, and there's a time for fun and there's a time for learning. And they don't get to decide necessarily how much time they spend on screens. So I'm just hoping that the district, the board, will consider partnering with the parents in the district and letting us, if nothing else, letting us control what our kids are able to access in our own homes. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Emily Mazzagallo.
No worries, Mazzacavallo.
Thank you, I'm so sorry.
That's okay, nobody gets it right. Hi, I'm Emily, and I have a 2nd and 4th grader in Hooverwood Elementary School. And as my kids have moved through elementary school, it has become increasingly clear that there are no unified guidelines in the classroom for the use of technology. We all know that technological advances often outpace our ability to create rules around it, but students in this district have had Chromebooks for years, and the research is now in and definitive that not only is it not aiding children in the classroom, often it is detrimental to their learning, especially in the early childhood classrooms. So we in BPS should be continually striving for excellence, and so I'm glad that we have this push in the community currently to bring this oversight to the board's attention. I would ask that a committee be formed to partner with parents, teachers, and administration to establish a set of rules for using technology in the classroom. Some of these restrictions should include YouTube restrictions because there is some pretty free access going on right now, time limits per grade level, and I would think keeping Chromebooks at school, especially in the elementary school, there's no reason for them to have them for homework at home. And as we've heard already, there's a lot of issues going on when they're away from school, and they're heavy to bring home. So a set of rules will help us keep Batavia Public Schools as a wonderful place for all students to learn and grow, and we can make it happen.
Our next speaker is Haley Lamb.
Good evening. We really need to be able to try to not do everything because it's the danger zone of not accomplishing anything. Tom Kim, September 23rd, 2025. You've been doing a lot, but all it is taking. Taking our interventionists from our elementary schools and our novels from our high schools. When does the giving back begin to happen? How do those things better our children's education? Those questions are being asked to the board without response. Your decisions affect our children's education. There are many voices in the room that are offering concern, and it's your responsibility to address our concerns. Why is this an adversarial relationship? Why do you put us in a position to fight you? 3 minutes is not nearly enough time to say what I want to say, but you're failing our kids. You're failing our community. Our community is begging for help and you continue to ignore us. You have dozens of supporters behind you, and when you posted about Sarah McBride, but who did you email with responses to? Our kids are being bullied and they are being ignored. There are no tampons in the bathrooms that we pay for as taxpayers, and they are ignored. You do not give our kids enough recess that is mandated by law. 15 minutes increments, and we still can't accomplish that. Our community is sick and tired of being ignored. We are not pains in the neck. We are passionate parents and family members. At night, when we try to lay our heads down to sleep, we wonder if we've done enough. Did we give our kids enough undivided attention? Should we switch to organic? Are we doing enough to protect them? And as I stand before these incredibly passionate families behind me, I know they all lose sleep over this. As I look before me, I see incredibly refreshed adults. It's time that you let our heroes, the teachers and staff in our schools, do the hard work. Let us help you do the hard work. And until we can work together as a team, we're gonna lose. And you're gonna fail our kids. And for the parents in the room, your kids are legally required to have 30 minutes of recess every single day, and the community will not get that. In 15-minute increments, and they still cannot give us that. So I ask for your guys' support so we can work together. Thank you.
Next, we have Bridget Johnson.
I'm Bridget Johnson, interventionist at Louise White School. I generally try to avoid public speaking, but as I often tell my students, we can do hard things. So I'm here tonight not only to speak on behalf of interventionists, but more importantly to advocate for the students we're committed to helping succeed. The interventionists were not made aware of this decision to reduce or eliminate our positions until late March, but discussion at the district level began months before that. If our April 9th meeting with Mr. Newkirk had occurred earlier in the school year, we would have had the opportunity to share a better understanding of our roles, and that what we do every day goes well beyond providing academic support for Tier 3 students. We provide safe spaces for those students struggling in the whole group setting to develop resilience and a sense of achievement. For many of our kids, consistent intervention time is where struggles become successes and frustration becomes confidence. When my position was reduced from full to half-time for next year, I was not given the option to work between two buildings as EL and high-ability teachers do. Instead, it was given to our EL teacher. In order to meet the professional responsibilities of their role, they're required to administer assessments to EL students for approximately 6 weeks throughout the school year due to MAP, Access, IAR, and ISA testing, plus additional days for makeups. During those testing windows, those Tier 3 students would not receive their services. That's about 30 days of no Tier 3 support. Shouldn't we be placing the same value on their instructional time and academic needs as we do for other student groups? And if not, what message does this send to those kids, their families, and to our community? I understand that I was not considered for the half-time EL position because I do not hold EL certification. Students who struggle with reading and math require specialized instruction by educators with the appropriate elementary teaching credentials. Those responsibilities should be entrusted to individuals with the proper training and experience to effectively meet those needs. This leads me to question whether the decision to reduce my position at halftime and combine it with a halftime EL role was made as a convenient way to maintain a full-time position for that staff member within our building, rather than it being given the thoughtful consideration it deserves by looking at the long-term impact this change would have on our students. I urge you to carefully consider whether this change truly aligns with our district's mission statement and commitment to supporting the success and growth of every student. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Amy Arndt.
Good evening, Superintendent Kim and members of the board. My name's Amy Arndt, and I'm here tonight as the mom of a soon-to-be second and fourth grader at HC Storm. And actually, I want to mention, my second grader had Mrs. Cesaroni, and we absolutely 100% support her staying on in her role. She was amazing, and I don't think we can really do any better. But I'm here to share my concern regarding the proposed increase in class sizes for the coming school year for the fourth grade school class. This class will be taken from 3 sections down to 2, which is alarming to me, especially as the interventionist positions are also being reduced. This needs to change from a business conversation to a conversation about these actual lives, these children who, in this particular group, have already demonstrated a wide range of support needs. This is a conversation that needs to shift from budget and numbers to focus on the students, the teachers, and the staff. We need to hear how the school administration planned to support the teachers and staff while cutting interventionists and increasing class sizes. We ask so much of our teachers. They expect to continue to challenge the high-achieving students, support struggling learners, and catch those falling behind. We ask them to do all of this while also taking into account their social emotional needs of all the kids in their class. Please consider reviewing and accounting for the number of IEPs and 504 plans in this oncoming fourth grade class. Speak to the school psychologist. Speak to the third grade teachers about this current group. Speak to the interventionists and paraprofessionals who work with these students every day before making this crucial decision. I've always been so proud of my son's love of math, a subject I always dreaded. I found a particular study about increases in class size being linked to significant declines, specifically in fourth grade math scores. I could stand up here and quote studies specifically about increased class sizes detrimentally affecting learning until I'm blue in the face, but it is already so universally understood that you don't need me to do that. As a parent, I want my child and every child in this class to continue loving school, feeling supported, and having the opportunity to succeed. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Frank Kosmak.
Hi. I kind of find it funny that we have support staff and interventionists who pull the kids away from electronics, give them a safe space, make them feel important, and then we have a group that's saying, hey, technology's too much in the classroom. Our interventionists and support staff, especially at HC Storm, is amazing. My kids every morning love to visit her classroom. They love everything about you, and too much. Same thing, look this way. I have a second and fourth grader, and I'm concerned as well about the increased class size of the fourth grade cohort, the unit, whatever you want to call them. Everyone knows class size is important. The smaller, the better. Having the support staff for those kids, it helps create a foundation for those kids to be the best community members. Whether it's middle school, high school, college, after, it all starts at the elementary school, and that is why our elementary school teachers, support staff, interventionists are so important. I mumble when I talk because I didn't go to speech. My kid has a speech impediment. Thankfully, the support staff there has made him more legible than I am. My daughter loves everything art, and because of the art classes given at HC Storm, she has turned into a better artist than myself. She can't paint a wall, but she can draw a beautiful horse. My kids' favorite part of HC Storm is having their small little group sessions with the teacher and the support staff. That's where they feel the most comfortable to be themselves. And as a person who's very emotional 99.9% of the time, having that close-knit community, having those support is so important. It makes you feel better. And it feels like we're letting our kids down. And like, as a parent, I'm gonna have to pick it up. But I'm not gonna be with them while they're at HC Storm. You don't want me teaching class. Nobody wants me to do that. I need the community's help to make sure my kids can be the best. I'll do everything outside of the school hours. But when they're with other people, they learn more and they are better. I guess I'm just not that good. Sorry, my wife's not gonna watch this, I hope. I had other things to say, but she told me not to. I think we have one of the best school districts in the state. And I really think it comes down to the entire community. It starts with the parents, the students, the teachers, the support. I plead with you all to just, let's think of the kids and how we can empower them to be better. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Ashley Hansen.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Hansen, and I have a daughter at Louise White. I'm here because I strongly believe we need to reconsider how much screen exposure we are normalizing in schools. Children today are growing up surrounded by technology specifically designed to capture and hold their attention. Schools should serve as a counterbalance, a place that strengthens focus, patience, and creativity. Instead, we are increasingly replacing books and hands-on activities with screens, despite mounting evidence about the negative impact on their developing brains. I'm also deeply concerned about my child accessing YouTube at school. Independent testing by child safety researchers has found that YouTube's restricted mode regularly misses 20 to 30% of inappropriate or mature content. I do not believe the perceived benefits from using YouTube in school justifies this exposure. I also don't think that children should be spending their school day on a platform intentionally engineered to maximize engagement, prolong screen time, and make it difficult for them to disengage, especially during the very years their brains are still developing the ability to focus and self-regulate. I respectfully ask the district to make the following changes for the benefit of our children. Remove YouTube access on student devices. Provide parents with transparency around student screen use during the school day. And develop district-wide screen time guidelines informed by child development research and cognitive science. This is not an argument against technology. It is an argument for appropriate use. Less screen use during school isn't a step backward. It is a deliberate step towards protecting the very skills education is meant to build. Thank you.
That concludes our public.
Very much. All right, next item is consent agenda. According to our board policy, we designate a portion of the action items on the agenda as a consent agenda for those items that usually do not require extensive discussion before board action. These items generally are routine, recurring, and can be grouped together for efficiency. Steve, would you like to take us through them?
Absolutely. 9.1 is the approval of the minutes from April 21st, 2026. 9.2 is the approval of our closed session minutes from April 21st, 2026. 9.3 is our monthly approval of payroll and bills. 9.4 is our monthly personnel report. 9.5 is the approval of donation. We would like to thank the Women of the News, Chapter 722, for their donation. 9.6 is the approval of the destruction of closed session recordings from November 19th, 2024. 9.7 is the approval of the stop-loss insurance renewal. 9.8 is the approval of the appointment of an IMRF authorized agent. 9.9 is the approval of Tyler Technologies School ERP Pro subscription renewal. 9.10 is the approval of textbook on display, Savas. 9.11 is the approval of the CNI software renewals for 2026, 2027. 9.12 is the approval of M-Class Dibbles. 9.13 is the approval of Microsoft Volume Licensing Agreement. 9.14 is the approval of our 2026-2027 K through 8 meal price increase. 9.5 is the approval of Red Rover renewal. 9.16 is the approval of 3-year agreement for annual penetration testing services.
Thank you, sir. There's quite a lot today. Does the board have any questions or comments? Katie?
On the textbook on display, we got an email raising some red flags about specifically students not reading novels within this curriculum. What is our response to the concerns about the academic and workplace setbacks that would lead to?
Sure, so I'll go in, I'll make sure everyone has a clear understanding of the process we went through to select this and then where we're headed with it. So this, again, comes from the board's strategic plan around literacy. So over the course of this year, you've approved different things for the elementary, the middle school, and this would be the final piece of the high school. So it's a direct link to our strategic plan. And it really spawned from not only the community kind of saying this is something that we want to see improvement in, but the state itself said literacy, there's something going on with literacy instruction, so they put out the Illinois Comprehensive Literacy Plan, which is kind of a synthesis of a lot of research on what works to get kids reading. So we did an intensive study first of the ICLP with our staff, with a lot of our staff, to kind of make sure that we were aware of the shifts in literacy instruction that were coming. So that was kind of a big educational push for us. As a part of that, we did a gap analysis with our current curriculum and where we're going. And what the gap analysis really showed is that we're not meeting the components of the Illinois Comprehensive Literacy Plan. And because of that gap, we didn't feel that our current curriculum could be manipulated into fulfilling those gaps. We went looking for new curricular resources at all levels. So at the K through 8 level, we're using a product from Amplify that you guys have approved. There's not a product that extends into high school. So the high school team, the SALT team, they really looked at what was out there for high schools. And we're not talking, because we don't really control the curriculum for like AP Lit, AP Lang, our electives courses. We do control, but it's like very self-contained, those things. What we do control is like where most of our kids are at, and that would be your required English 1, English 2, and English 3 classes for freshmen, sophomore, and junior students. So they went through, they interviewed all sorts of vendors to see what their products did. They had a list of criteria that is in the board report that really shows like where that particular product is in terms of our criteria and our power standards. So the team went through that, they narrowed it down, they did further interviews, and they decided to pilot Savas, which is from this vendor. They went through I said pilot, and I'm not supposed to use that term. So we went through a field test of Savas at the high school this past semester. So we had English 2 and English 3 teachers, along with special educator and EL support staff, go through that field test of the Savas product. What we discovered through that was that it was very rigorous. Our students were struggling a lot with it. It took like some time to get the rigor under control for students. They felt a sense of accomplishment. They were doing far more writing through the field test than they were previously. And the teachers really worked hard to implement the field test. As we debriefed with them, as we looked at the SALT team, we went through our process that CAC regulates, and they made a recommendation to move forward with Savas. So we did a training with them just to introduce all of the staff to Savas and what's in the textbooks. We did that on April 6th, I believe, the day back from break. And then we've been planning for implementation since then. So I met with the English department, that was yesterday. And then we discussed several things. They wanted to talk about communication to parents, separate trainings for English 1, 2, and 3, and then their concern about not reading any novels. So we talked about those concerns. There is a book club that's kind of an attachment to Savas, but because this is such a big shift from going from a teacher-developed curriculum by tradition to implementing this curriculum, we put a pause on the book club, the novels, for a period of a year. Now, within Savas itself, there are full-length texts as well as interviews, podcasts, screenplays, those types of things. So there's full texts like The Tempest and Metamorphosis, The Crucible are example of full-length text within it, but it also uses a variety of texts to teach the standards in English for those classes as well. So we'll process, we have like a scheduled plan to revisit the use of novels within that, but because this is such a huge lift for both our staff and our students, we put a pause on that for a period of a year.
So then would it be possible that there would be periods of years, plural, that kids would not be reading novels?
Well, they're reading full-length text, and they're reading a lot of really dense, rich text that's on grade level, so.
It feels like it replaces novels, basically?
Yeah, and I think English class isn't the only place where we're reading within our schools, so I know some history teachers have novels as a part of their class. Our school librarian is very active in getting kids to do a lot of reading, so I think they will still have opportunities to process through novels and to read that type of text, but not as a part of our kind of first year of implementation of Savas.
Okay. And then will the teachers have enough time to familiarize themselves with the new curriculum over the summer?
Yeah,
Is
we
that-
have a scheduled training on the second institute day, so we have all day with them.
Okay.
We'll work with trainers, different trainers to go through, here's how to plan with Savas, because it will be different for our staff.
Yeah.
And then one of the assistant principals and I have like a support plan of time, because one of the things that in our other implementations that teachers said was the most valuable was time with their team. So that's something that I've worked with Joanne and Bob Dietz and Haley Nicolau, the assistant principal overseeing the English department. And really, like, that's our mission, is to find time for the teams to meet and process through this, because that's what our teachers have said. And our other pilots is like the most important thing for them is time with their teams to kind of work through the challenges of this.
Is there, sorry.
Yep.
Is there crossover between like the middle school English curriculum and the high school English curriculum? Like, is this gonna bump into anything?
There might be a few little bumps like that. We haven't, because the middle school did a mid-year implementation, we haven't seen like the full effects of that yet. So we're working through those pieces.
Okay.
So next year, the middle school will be doing a very similar process to the high school, which would be their first full year of implementation, but they jumped in with both feet mid-year and did that implementation. And again, it's a really tough process to implement a brand-new curriculum. We have teachers who have been teaching for 25 years, and they said, I feel like a first-year teacher, right? Like, this is very different for them, but we're seeing the rigor level and the benefits to students really coming through.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Newkirk, could you talk through the process of how we'll evaluate if this is being successful, the timeline, and what that process looks like?
Yeah, part of the curriculum resources and assessment suite that comes with that as well. So it's great to look at MAP scores and to look at the ACT test and the pre-ACT. Those just don't happen often enough for us to get a good read on this. So they do have assessments that go along with each of the units. So we'll be monitoring each unit together. We'll be looking at those results, seeing what are kind of the benefits and the drawbacks of that. We probably won't do that for the first unit because we're still getting our feet under us, but for the other units that they'll be teaching, we would do that to see like the formative assessments to track our progress.
And you use the term the SALT committee. Could you explain what that acronym is?
Yeah, so we have a group of, we put out, Colleen does a good job of recruiting for these things out there, so thank you, Colleen. Colleen's the co-chair of CAC, and CAC puts out a charter. So the charter says we want to work on this subject area, so in this case ELA, and we're looking for this number of people. So CAP creates all of that, kind of gives a description of the work that they'll be doing for that particular year. We put that out to all staff. to volunteer, to, not volunteer, but they become a part of a committee, a paid committee that they're a part of. And we have really tried to make them empowered to make decisions on how to move forward with all of this. So the members, the teaching members of the SALT team, along with the leveled administrators that are a part of the SALT team as well, we try and empower them for decision making, which means like I keep my mouth shut most of the time and let the team kind of process through and own that. When they're debriefing with the team, we're really listening to what they're saying, what are the struggle points, where do they need support, but we're trying to have these SALT teams really make a lot of these decisions. And what we've seen is there's a lot of buy-in when that happens, right? So our elementary staff has really bought into a big curriculum change that's coming next year with CKLA. Our middle school staff has jumped on board with that as well. We'd love to see more people participate in the subject area leadership team process, but the people who are there are really committed to it. They do a good job of going back to department meetings and communicating the progress along the way as well, which is very helpful.
Thank you.
I initially was a little concerned about them not reading full novels, so I came and looked at the materials on display, and I was actually impressed with some of the things I saw there. Like it was included, the letter from Birmingham Jail, a short story by Kurt Vonnegut, a JFK speech, an essay by Neil Gaiman, an interview with a North Korean refugee, Caged Bird by Maya Angelou, writings by Walt Whitman, Emily Dickinson, David Thoreau, an excerpt from Braiding Sweetgrass by Rob. So it was like very extensive, and even though it wasn't, full, novels, I feel like there was such a wide range of texts that the students would be experiencing. I did have one question about, there was a page about AI, an AI tool, AI-powered writing tool that's supposed to like give feedback to the students as they're writing. So I was a little concerned about that. It did say that it could be turned off, so I was curious about the AI assisted.
Yeah, we haven't made any final decisions on how to approach that yet. We have used an AI writing feedback tool at the middle school for a number of years, and we've got rid of that with Amplify because it's part of their suite as well. All of these curricular resources and pretty much every piece of software has some AI embedded within it now. It's kind of amazing how the industry has adopted that. The feedback can be really beneficial because students can put their own writing and get like immediate feedback instead of having to wait for their teacher to grade the paper. So there's some benefits to it, but there also can be some like abuses to that as well, or shortcutting of using AI, which is something that we deal with quite often. So we haven't really made any final decisions on how to process through that, but we'll do that with the teachers when they get back.
And then the other question, I saw in there that there were some supplemental materials that were online, but the rest is all like that chunky workbook,
there's a
right?
big chunky book and there's a workbook. So workbooks are coming back because we have them in the math curriculum at the middle school, and they'll be a part of the ELA curriculum, which is good for, there are some pieces that we do on technology, and we have, with the pilot at Savas, we did use the Lightspeed technology.
Field test.
Sorry, thank you. We did, with the field test teachers, they used the Lightspeed technology because it does give you like a dashboard of what kids are actually working on, and they found that to be very helpful, especially during like online assessments, for various reasons, as you can guess.
So, you said this will be used for English 1, 2, and 3. What about the honors program?
The honors will get the same, but they have different units. So there's 5 units in each of the books, and really, we think it's feasible to do about 2 or 3 units, and then the honors classes will do a 4th unit. So it's very rigorous to begin with. So the honors have that extra unit that they'll be working on. We're going to see how that works for next year. So we worked with Savas to kind of identify what those units would be, because we have identified over a period of years what are our power standards in Batavia. So looking at all of the ELA standards, what are the ones that are most powerful for our students? They looked at that and then matched them to the units. and identified either 2, 3, or 4 units that we would be covering in each of those classes.
And so will the English 1 and 2 of those novels also be put away for a year?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, but we're still keeping novels for the literature composition?
Yeah, all of the AP classes, a lot of the electives will still have novels as well.
And if a teacher, if I, let's say I was a teacher that field tested Savas this year, and I did my homework over the summer, and I kind of really got a good grasp on it. So let's say come right after winter break, I'm like, you know what, I think I can feel like I can introduce a novel. Will they be allowed to do that, or they still will be like, no?
The only feedback that I've received from them, and they spoke up in our department meeting as well, there were 2 teachers in the meeting that were a part of the field test, and both of them said that they tried a novel because we had a course fee that bought the novel for their students before we knew we were piloting this, so they felt like the need to use that novel. They said it was kind of a train wreck. So they were telling their department members, we don't want to do this in the first year. I don't know, we'll get to that point and I'll check in with those people to see where they're at, but they did not recommend us getting into the novels during our first year, so we really tried to listen to them.
So this program that picks the novels that for the teachers to read, like the teacher doesn't,
No, we tried to weave it in on our own and it blew up a little bit for us, and they said I would not recommend us doing that. So that was part of it. But Savas has their book club, and they have both the resources and the books that would come with it if we decide to go in that direction.
and then the only other question I have, I think it's more towards Tony, is Tony, everything that we're voting on for this, 9 point, all of them, is it in our budget? Were these allotted for in our budget?
This, to be honest with you, I haven't gone through the list myself, because there's so much stuff on here today. But my understanding is that is true, yes.
I have a question, but it doesn't relate to Savas. Is it all right to move on to a different question?
I just have a quick question, because I have the email, and I don't know if I heard this answered or not, so I apologize if you guys already did hit on it. It's just kind of taking a lot of information. One of the things that this writer had brought up is like the cost to student stamina by taking away novels. Is that something that's been discussed during this process, and is there a concern about the students not having more lengthy text to go through? I understand there's a variety, but what has the feedback been regarding a possible hit to their stamina?
It'll be interesting to see how this year progresses, and it'll be something that we look at. There are so many extended pieces within the Savas curriculum, like even as an English teacher back in the day, like I would always skip Act 4 of Hamlet, which I was required to teach to my students because nothing really happened in it. And I kept spending like a month teaching that play. So like we skipped Act 4, I gave them a little summary, and we moved on to Act 5 where the real action happens. So there are many extended pieces within this that I think our students will still have opportunities to practice their reading stamina. But it would be something we monitor for sure.
So I have a question about 9.7, the approval of the stop-loss insurance. Could you explain what that is and why there's the rather dramatic increase?
Yeah. So
0.7?
stop-loss insurance is insurance on your medical insurance. So essentially, when you have a really high claim come in, the stop-loss kicks in and actually reimburses you money for that claim. So since we're self-funded, we're paying every medical bill, but when that high claim comes in, this insurance kicks in, and then it pays them for us or reimburses them for us. So last year, we paid about $427,000 for stop-loss insurance, and we got back $725,000. So if you think about it like your house, if you file claims on your house and you get a new roof and you get new windows and you get new everything, right? Your claim, your renewal the next year goes up. So that was the largest driver in this. So because we had those high utilizers in those claims, that's what caused our rate to go up. And this is becoming a trend in medical we talk about this a lot in the insurance committee, where the cost of medical is just going up. It's outpacing a lot of different industries, and this is just a result of that combined with the high utilization. So yeah, 41% is a huge increase, but it's there to safeguard us in case we have high claims.
So if we don't have high claims this year, does it ever go down?
It can, yeah. It's one of those where they look at your insurability, and then depending on your utilization, it can go down. So I think maybe it was a year or two ago, we actually got a very small or actually a decrease. And I remember Rob asked about it, like, how did this happen? And I stood up here and said, we had a really good year. And now I'm here to say we had a really bad year. So.
As an interesting aside, this year too, we're seeing a 40+% increase on our workers' compensation insurance, because we've had a couple of really bad years for workers' compensation. So this is how insurance works.
Tony and Josh, I'm just curious, the question just popped in my head. Are any of our insurance carriers using AI predictive models to also forecast some of those calculations? To your knowledge?
They do a very thorough analysis, especially with stop loss, because of the size involved. They're insuring over a very large claim amount, and they could be on the hook for literally millions of dollars. And so they're scrutinizing these claims with a very fine-tooth comb. They do not share how they scrutinize them, but they go through the detail very carefully.
Thank you.
No, it's okay. We're good. Did you want me to ask it, just to keep it sanctity of the board questions? Any other questions on other line items?
I had a question about 9.12. If this is a different assessment than has been used in previous years due to the change to Amplify.
Yeah, so this, we've used a product called AimsWeb for fluency and dyslexia screening for many, many years. It never was kind of usable. It was very hard to use. It was like a separate data system that we had to bring into some of our systems. It was a little disjointed, made decision-making pretty complicated for interventionists and for special ed teachers. So when we moved to Amplify, we started to look at M-Class DIBELS. DIBELS has been around forever, but this is a system that aligns with that. So Natalie also worked with reading specialists and interventionists and others, school psychologists, to query whether this was the correct move to move away from AimsWeb and towards this. We'll still keep AimsWeb for some math benchmark assessments, which we need to do, but this will replace a big chunk of what we've been using in the past.
And Raquel, to answer your earlier question about the budget, are these items there in the budget?
I actually have one more question on 9.14, the K through 8 meal price increase. Could you talk about what that increase is?
Sure. So our K program is on the National School Lunch Program. So we get federal dollars for all meals that are sold. And every year we have to use a tool called it's the PEL. There's always an acronym, right? But basically what it is it's to make sure that our paid students are paying enough to make sure that we're not just taking the federal government's money. So there's this whole calculation that goes through, and essentially the minimum that you have to always increase your meal price is 10 cents. So you go through this whole calculation, and because our National School Lunch Program portion of food service is in the positive, which is great, we have to increase by 10%. So that's where 10 cents. So that's where that comes from. So this is something that happens every year.
I just pointed out because I was going through it and I saw increase and then only to see it be a dime. I thought that was a win, actually, because everything else is going up more dramatically than that, so.
Yeah, no, we're very fortunate. Our current food service contract is very favorable to us, and it allows us to keep the prices where they are at that minimum increase.
Thank you.
Good questions. Any others? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve all items in the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Raquel,
Second.
second by Rob. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Swisicki,
No.
Sliger,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Girls,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. On to reports, FOIA reports. Tom?
Nothing extraordinarily out of the ordinary. We did have one denial of a FOIA request, but other than that, everything's been provided with the status.
All right. Any questions? Otherwise, Tony, treasurer?
In terms of the treasurer's report, nothing out of the ordinary. We're coming to the close of the fiscal year very soon, and we're very close to what we expected in terms of budget.
That's good. All right, and Tom, committee updates.
Yeah, so some of the committee updates were not able to get into the report because they've recently met. So at the next meeting, you'll see some updates from our wrap-up kind of committee meetings that took place. I didn't know if any of the board members wanted to jump in just to give a preview as to what might have happened.
I have an update. For the Batavia Foundation, last week was a senior night where we celebrate a lot of our outstanding students, and scholarships are given out, and the Batavia Foundation handed out thousands of dollars of scholarships. So I just wanted to go through those and recognize the students that were awarded scholarships. So for the Dr. Stephanie Pace Marshall Scholarship, Isabel Witt was our winner. For the Michael Boniface Scholarship, it was Tamani Mitchell was the winner. For the Molly Mae Vance Scholarship, Miss Madeline Weiss was the recipient. There were 3 winners of the William Freiberger Scholarship. So it was Casey Hubert, Naya Schoaf, and Mia Tarmichael. For the Thomas Schmidt Scholarship, Shaylee Rogers was the recipient of that award. For the Bulldog Legacy Award, the winner was Stephen Banos. And there were 2 winners of the Matthew Nana Scholarship, Win Tien and Dylan Wells. So good job. Congratulations to all those recipients.
RAC met yesterday. We continued the discussion about possibly getting back on the school lunch program, or the National School Lunch Program at the high school. But again, that's something that's for the future, not this coming school year. And I don't want to steal Josh's thunder, because he's going to be presenting information about my school books. And what was the other thing? Oh, the lunch.
The lunch.
Yeah, next week, so I will stay quiet about it.
Building the excitement, I get it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Other action items, approval of inquiry journeys. Brad?
Sure, so Inquiry Journeys is a social studies curriculum that CAC is recommending for approval. This is something that we've used for the past 2 years within the district in different scales of field tests. So this team is recommending this move forward. One of the biggest things with social studies is it's about inquiry, right? It's less about dates and names and facts and more about inquiry. This is one that aligns with our state standards, and this is kind of a good place for the elementary to kind of move forward with dipping their toe into inquiry and moving kids forward in social studies.
Comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve Inquiry Journey as the anchor resource for elementary social studies.
So moved.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Katie. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Girls,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes. Motion passes. Item 11.2, approval of Language Studio for the 2026-2027 school year.
Yep, this is another kind of support system, so We engaged our ESL teachers at the elementary level in looking at how we're going to deliver services next year, how we can best support our EL students. With Amplify coming in, there's a product that Amplify has called Language Studio. A couple of our ESL teachers tried this out with their students, found it to be very successful, and they're looking forward to implementing this next year with our ESL students.
Any questions?
Was this offered as an option when we were originally looking at Amplify CLA?
It was like there, like you could kind of opt into that, but we were so focused on that core curriculum piece that we waited till after we were within the field test to kind of start looking at what are we going to do with some of these other support services that we need. Good question. There's a lot of products that they offer. It's very overwhelming when you kind of get into this. And you gotta be very careful about what you choose, so we're not overloading our system with a lot of new things and making sure the teams themselves are invested in that implementation. And at first, our ESL staff was like, I don't know about that. I kind of like what I'm doing. But after they got into it, we had a call with them a couple weeks ago, and they were like, yep, we're on board. This is going to be really great for our students. And I actually see this as a benefit for students beyond English learners, because there's so much vocabulary work, background building, that this could be potentially used in the future with other students that need that level of support.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the contract estimates for Amplify for Language Studio.
So moved.
So moved by Rob,
Second.
second by Raquel. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Girls?
Yes.
Swisicki?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Arlandu?
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas?
Yes.
Sliger?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 11.3, approval of the purchase of a driver's ed and student transportation vehicle. Mark?
Thank you. So this is not only, as you said, the driver's ed vehicle, but we also use it for very kind of specific activities as well. So driver's ed currently has 2 vehicles they use mainly for driver's ed, but obviously there's certain times, more kids, they need the 3rd one, usually in the summer. But this is also good for like during the day. You can take 2 students to, you know, wherever they need to go, or if athletes go downstate, if there's, you know, 1 or 2, you don't have to take the activity bus, which I'll be talking about later. A full activity bus, you can just take this type of vehicle, and we have had a Honda Odyssey for a number of years. It's a 2008, so it's been very reliable. It's 18 years old. It's time to get another one. They do last, obviously, with 18 years, so I'm looking to get a very similar one to that. And getting a used one, there's a market for them. I'm learning a lot about this type of market, and it's actually more economical to go used than to get a new one, so that's why this will be a used one.
Any questions?
What's gonna happen to the 2008?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to get some money for it, and we will. So I actually, as I thought about this, I needed to put that in, so I will be putting that in next month. So actually, I'll be putting all of them in next month. I don't really know the exact price, so I'm gonna get an estimate of that, but yeah, we will get some money out of the 2008. Really, we'll get some money just because it's not really high mileage for a 2008, so, yeah.
I see that, because it's a used vehicle, that it's exempt from the bidding process, but it was specified that McGrath would be used. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, McGrath is a very local Honda dealership, and they have a lot of Honda Odysseys. That's really the driver. It's something local you can go, and how used vehicles work is they don't hold them, even if you put a deposit down, so you literally, if they have them, you know, I'll know, and now that's why the not to exceed number is on there. That's kind of a range of what kind of fits this situation.
I have a Honda Odyssey, so I totally.
Do you want to sell it?
Great car.
It is.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of a used driver education student transportation van from McGrath Honda in the amount not to exceed, need to make sure I get that right, not to exceed $40,000.
So moved.
So moved by Katie,
Second.
second by Raquel. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Sliger,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 11.4, approval of a maintenance truck purchase.
Yeah, you're gonna see a trend here. It's all about vehicles tonight with me. So this has been, we're now at, I think a 8 or 9 year process of kind of getting all of our maintenance trucks each year newer and newer. So when we started this, it was 2018, so we're 8 years, and this is really kind of the last truck until we really start the entire process all over again. So we do have a 2008, famous year here, 2008. One of those trucks left, we're looking to get rid of that. And again, Raquel, I will get that in next month, and I'm gonna say that again to you, because the next one's the same way. But we will get some value out of it. Again, it really depends on kind of the timing, as far as we put it on an auction site. We've done that with multiple different vehicles.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, I will entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of one 2027 maintenance truck through the National Joint Powers Alliance Cooperative Purchasing Contract in the amount of $55,934.76.
So moved.
So moved by Aaron, second by Raquel. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
All right, item 11.5, because Mark's legs are getting tired, approval of a multifunction school activity bus, and there's an abbreviation in here, but you're stretching on this one.
Yeah.
Purchase, so please continue, sir.
So for a number of years, we leased our activity buses, and if you remember, about a year ago, we decided to buy them. And part of the plan was, once we own these, now we're gonna get into plan of basically purchasing a bus every 1 or 2 years. So this is the first bus that we will purchase, and this is also a not to exceed number, because I've been working with different, well, there's only a couple, there's not many, but dealerships for this, and they have some remaining. So instead of having to build one out, and it takes at least a year to do this, there are some remaining. So, and it's gonna be a lot less expensive than, you know, if you go into the next year. So what we'll do is with your approval, get this one purchased as soon as possible, and then there is still a trade-in value. And really, what we're trying to do here is keep the warranties. So we try to keep all 5 buses within the same mileage. Now, it's difficult because buses at Rotolo, they might be going a different distance than at the high school. But we try to rotate them and keep them within, and it's really your 36,000 or 60,000 as far as warranty goes. One of our buses it's gonna, by the time we trade it in or sell it, it will be over that 36,000 mark. So that's kind of the goal on all this, is to not take a bus so far that it doesn't really have much value. So we will get, I'm estimating it's gonna be 30,000, maybe more, back as either a trade-in or sell outright. That's not, I haven't made that decision yet. I'm just trying to get the best price. So really, if you look at this, you know, take that off, and it's, you know, it's gonna be a 70,000, yes, it's expensive, but $70,000 or $80,000 purchase. You can't count that in, because you're purchasing it, and then later, Raquel and I will get this in the appropriate one, and you'll know exactly the value of that bus.
I feel like you're eyeballing them right now.
Yeah.
You better get those numbers in.
Okay, before you go to the high school, I wanna.
Better train the new guy, just so you know. All right, any
Noted.
questions?
You said there's 5, and
We
the goal is to do 1 a year? Is that what you're saying?
One, depending on the mileage, but one, I would say 1 or 2 years, and so the kind of, you get, it's really that 8 to 10 year cycle of all of these to really get the value. The very similar things that I've kind of done in the past with the maintenance trucks. Really the mileage, I mean, activity buses, we put more miles on just because we're going a farther distance, but you still have to kind of figure that spot. And I already know that, you know, these have a value, so, to get that back. But yeah, the 5 activity buses works well. There's some days we could use more, but, that seems to be a good thing. We did have 4, and we increased it to 5. Oh, I think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
We used to only have 3 when we first started.
Yeah.
I think it might be informative. Could you talk about like some of the uses of the activity buses? 'Cause
Yeah.
we've been using them in ways I think are really assisting kids and families the last few years that we weren't before, I think.
Right, yeah, laws have changed with this, so we can use it a lot more. We can use it, really, when this first started, you could not use them during the day. It was only extracurriculars after school, and that's it. Now, it's really by level, so you can use them at the high school. Again, I don't even know all the different ways, but yeah, taking kids to certain things, you know, I know life skills class use them, I mean, to go to different programs throughout the district, so, I mean, I don't know the exact years, but 5, 7 years ago, you couldn't do that. So that has changed. So really, these buses are used all the time. They're mainly used after school for anything from athletics to music to clubs, and both mainly at the high school level, but at Rotolo as well.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was helping coach the flag football in the fall, these girls would practice till 4:45, and then I think about half to 2/3 seemed like they caught that activity bus and got a ride home, which is, I mean, I don't know how many, there's probably a lot of kids that would not have been able to participate if they didn't have that opportunity.
You were actually thinking of the activity bus, so that does get confusing, but these are our smaller 14-passenger activity
okay.
buses. You're thinking of the activity buses we use through Illinois Central that take, you know, students and drop them at specific sites throughout town, east side, west side sites. But yes, they're the same name, but they're not the same vehicle.
Okay, thanks for
Those
clarifying.
extracurricular buses are the ones, the big ones that Mark's talking about after practices or extracurricular club kind of events. Those are the buses that are both funded by the district and BAF's donations. They've really helped us engage in getting extra busing for kids so that they can participate in that work. So those are the regular buses that we say.
Thank you.
Still call it the same.
Any other questions? All right, I will entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of 1 multifunction school activity bus. I'm not gonna say it, from Midwest Transit Equipment through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Procurement in the amount not to exceed $120,000 even.
So moved.
So moved by, was that Danielle? Danielle, second by?
Second.
Second by Raquel. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Armando,
Yes.
Susiki,
Yes.
Garros,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes,
Motion passes, thank you. Item 11.6, approval of boundary for Abbey Meadows and Harvest Point. Tony?
Yes, if you recall, a couple months ago, we talked about this as a possibility where there are 2 new developments underway being built on Redant, essentially near the intersection of Redant Road and Butterfield Road. These 2 developments are within 1.5 miles or within walking distance of Woodland School. Although current, they're within the attendance boundaries of J.B. Nelson School. It's just how boundaries were drawn some 20 years ago. And before any children move into these homes, we think it prudent that we move the attendance areas from J.B. Nelson School to Hooverwood School. That way these kids can actually walk to school, and it fits with our neighborhood schools model where we can. Not all aspects of town are obviously walkable, but where we can do that, we try to, and this aligns with that principle.
If I recall correctly, and he was kind of, that J.B. Nelson is the one that, when they did the RSP study, that was a little bit on capacity crunch, not quite there yet, but it was on the closer side.
Yes, it was, if I recall correctly off the top of my head, it was 92%.
Yeah.
And the ideal is anywhere between 80 and 90%. And next year, we do think that it will be probably right around 89 or 90%. Just the natural course of things, not because of moving these
Right.
these developments, but that was just gonna be the natural course.
Do you know if any of the homes have sold in that area? Like, if we had any people register for the school yet?
No, we haven't had anybody register yet, but, yeah, I think the first homes are about finished. I don't know, Mark, have you heard anything lately by chance?
The last I'd heard is that there will be people moving in by the end of the summer.
If I recall correctly, they were gonna start sales in May, first closings in June, so right around that time frame.
I forgot. Are they all single family?
No, there's one development that's single family and one development that's multifamily, so I don't remember which is which, to be honest. But one will be townhomes and one will be single family homes.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the reassignment of the Abbey Meadows and Harvest Point developments from J.B. Nelson School to Google Middle School effective July 1st, 2026.
So moved.
So moved by Katie,
Second.
second by Raquel. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Swisicki,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Garrels,
Yes.
Steiger,
Yes.
Kilber,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes. Motion passes. All right, we are through the action items. Thank you, everybody, for your time and effort on that. Discussion items, item 12.1, ramp agreement. Brad.
So this is just, so people have time between now and the next meeting. We'll bring you the full agreement next meeting to approve, but this is a part of a group that Tom got us involved in. I'm gonna put it squarely on him as part of the Aurora Education Commission. He's a bigwig on that. So, he's like opened some doors for us. So this is a partnership with a lot of different school and educational entities, including Chicago Public Schools. We're a part of Bally's, which is our career and technical education. So it's us, East Aurora, and West Aurora that are participating from Bally's. We have some vocational centers, and then a CTE system downstate. So kind of a nice group of diverse partners that are working together with an organization out of NIU called Ed Systems, and we've met them as a part of the Aurora Education Commission, and they're very involved. They're really good at data, and this is a regional acceleration of model pathways project that we're working collaboratively with them on. They obtained some grant funding, and they'll funnel that through Valley's to help fund some of this work. About $63,000, I think, is what Valley's will get between the three districts that are a part of this work. And what we'll do is we'll look at creating a data infrastructure to really analyze our region to see what career pathways we need for our students. And I think that's a huge piece, right? We want to make sure that the programming that we put forth to our kids really matches what our region needs in terms of jobs and careers. They'll provide some technical support because they do this work throughout the state, and then we'll develop a regional action plan for developing work-based learning opportunities for our students with all of these other organizations. So I think it's a really awesome opportunity. We had our first call about a week ago to meet all the different partners and kind of process through what this might look like. I included, I think, the Commission on Purposeful Pathways. I had not seen that before, but I found that to be really valuable as a read to kind of show like what the true purpose, why are we building these pathways? It's really impactful on students in terms of their college selections and their career selections later on, and some really valuable work to me. So I included that little research brochure in the discussion as well. We don't need to talk about this, or if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I don't know as much as I want to because we have another couple meetings coming up, but they're asking us that we start this process to get this agreement up and running so that we can share data amongst the partners. Tom, did I miss anything?
Oh, you did a really nice job.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate that.
Any questions for him to answer now or later when he learns more about it?
So I get the program, so like how, like if I'm in high school and we adopt this, like how is it gonna benefit me?
It's probably a couple of years out for this to like really impact. We're gonna continue to do our work-based learning, One of the nice things is in kind of teaming with West Aurora and East Aurora, they're at little different spots than we are too, with some successes and setbacks just like us. So I feel lucky to kind of work with those two school districts to kind of see what they're doing and how they're processing through this. In education, we tend to kind of all do our own thing and not really collaborate very well because we think like our circumstance is so different. And that's just not the case. We can learn a lot from each other. So I'm really happy to work with East and West Aurora on this project and then to learn from other organizations that can help improve our product in terms of what we're doing with work-based learning. So it's going to be a couple years where I think we'll start to see the fruits of this. One of the really exciting pieces will be the data piece, Ed Systems, and I think I put a link in the memo to what they've done with other statewide data. It's really helpful for making some database decisions when they are compiling the data for us and mapping that data to see what's happening in our region versus other regions.
I think if I could add on, if you don't mind, Brad.
Please.
For me to answer your question, Raquel, I think one of the additional benefits too, though, is while, as Brad put, while we kind of navigate towards the more robust programming under this particular area, I think this gives us an opportunity to sharpen the things we are doing right now. If you look at the language in the text, a lot of it is based around presentation. You will see a lot of familiar language that our teams have presented to the board about what we're doing. Like if you take the Education Pathways program, for example, a lot of the work-based learning skills that are coming through this, student internships that we've been talking about, working with some of our teachers at BHS right now who are taking the lead in developing the foundation for us to get ready to launch paid student internships that we will host locally here inside of our district. There's a lot of work in that. I think these are the things that give us the kind of that North Star navigational tool to keep heading towards, so that when we are ready to kind of launch bigger, we're like foundationally ready, we're set, and we're aligned to the standards that the state's looking for as well. So. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, there were some pretty smart people on those calls.
Other questions? Okay, so Brad, next steps, you learn a little bit more about it?
I'll learn
bring
more,
info?
I'll bring it back next month and we'll see where we're at with the agreement.
Okay, great. All right, item 13, board and superintendent comments. Tom, anything
Yes.
to start with?
As is always, this is my one and only comment tonight. I liken tomorrow evening to the final act for those of you who appreciate the theater or fine arts. If you're a sports enthusiast, this is the Super Bowl tomorrow night. So excited to be at graduation, see our students walk across the stage. To me, that is the highlight of what we do in education, to see our students as they matriculated through the district and now move on to their next goals in life. And, you know, so just really excited. I know in my visits to the buildings over last week or so that a lot of students are excited about this, the event for tomorrow night. And so all I have to say to the board is my only comment is, go Bulldogs tomorrow night, NIU.
All right, board member comments. Okay, Christine, thank you.
I just wanted to mention that, I can't remember his name, the gentleman that spoke about the piano.
Mr. Peebles?
Mr. Peebles.
Mr. Peoples. I think I've mentioned before the Park District program where they have conversations, and there was a conversation about music in Batavia, and he sat next to me, and so I had a conversation with him about his dad, who is a music educator, and it was nice to see him again. And then my second thing is with the amount of emails and concern we've gotten about Chromebook usage, if that is something that people would be interested in putting on a future agenda, I think the timing is not great, because I would want teachers to be involved in that conversation, or at least to get feedback from the BEA to get an idea of like what it actually looks like in the classroom. But I was just wondering if people are interested in having that conversation at some point in the future to get more information about, you know, what does it actually look like?
Yeah, and I'm wondering, for our school update meetings coming up here, right, the schools, can we have them comment on that or ask for their feedback and input on that?
Yeah, how about on Tuesday evening, I can also present, I put, our committee messages are designed to intentionally be summaries of a, 2-hour-long meeting, so they're not minutes per se, but they're a summary. Next week, what I can do is share a snippet of like what our conversation was at DCC. We did begin our conversations around the use of screen time. We had a conversation about devices. This was a conversation we had with the board in the fall. We also discussed the AI maturity tool that I've shared with you earlier. So a lot of these things that are being raised I think a lot of the speakers actually spoke to this, is they don't live in isolation of each other, right? They're all tethered to each other, they all touch each other, and I think it's really important as we respond to this, we look at it holistically, and at DCC, we had a conversation to kind of start navigating what that might look like. But I can I can provide an update at the Tuesday evening meeting.
Start with that.
I would say start with that, and then I agree with you, like if we were to have a discussion, the teachers are like the most important piece really, so maybe in the fall, we'll see where we're at.
Half of it's teachers.
Yeah, just a reminder, at the DCC level, half of that group is teachers as well, so as a part of that DCC group, so. They're part of the discussion.
And then my last thing is congratulations to our Batavia graduates. Whether you are going on to college or trade school or right into the workforce or taking a year off, I hope you feel that your BPS experience has prepared you for what's to come. I know some of you probably had hurdles to overcome to get to this point. I hope you're proud of your accomplishment. You persevered and you made it. And I'm looking forward to the new school year. I know we get a break, but I'm excited for the new year. I have a year under my school board belt, so I feel like I'm a little more confident and prepared. And I'm looking forward to making good choices for all of our students.
Rob?
Yes, first of all, I'll just piggyback off of Kristen's, for congratulations to all the graduates tomorrow. So I look forward to being there and celebrating with you tomorrow. And I always enjoy the speeches. Usually pretty inspiring. So looking forward to hearing that. And speaking of the experience of the BHS, I had the opportunity to go to my son's college graduation, undergrad graduation over the weekend. And I always get pretty inspired when I go to those type of, for various family members. And you hear some of the speakers, and a couple of ones that really stuck out to me was a woman by the name of Marguerite Baron-Kitsy, who was involved in, if you remember, the early 90s, Burundi, Rwanda, the genocide that happened over there. She actually was part of a very tragic situation over there. I won't go into the details here, but you can look that up. But she was very hopeful, even going through that, and she was able to kind of save a number of people's lives and turn it around. And she used her, her will to come up with a program that help refugees. And I think about our graduates here, they're moving on to various, pathways after graduation. But I think if you always keep in mind that, that hope, you're working for the common good. So I hope they keep that in mind as they move forward. And then the other one was Dr. Tim Schreiber, who's part of the Schreiber-Kennedy family. He's the daughter of Eunice Kennedy Schreiber, or son of Eunice Kennedy Schreiber, sorry. And he picked up where his mom left off with Special Olympics. So he talked about that, and he really talked about, the dignity of people. And he encouraged the graduates to really look at when you interact with people, look at the dignity there. And every person is special, and we need to treat each other that way. So just a couple thoughts I wanted to share.
All right, so it's May, so it's Happy Asian Pacific Heritage Month. It's also Mental Health Awareness, and I think a a lot of people after tomorrow will have a good mental health break for a few months, so, and then just thanks to Rob and Danielle for taking the task of interviewing and selecting our student board members, I appreciate that. And then congratulations to the class of 2026, and I hope everyone has a healthy, safe, and happy summer.
Nice. I want to start by saying we had so many celebrations at the beginning of the meeting tonight, so congratulations to people that are new to the district, our new student board members, and everybody that is recognized tonight. It's always inspiring. I want to say congratulations to all those who are retiring from BPS 101. And, I think Thursday will be almost their last day. So we're excited for them, and I'm a little envious of what they get to embark on now with their next step. I want to thank my fellow board members for their service to the district. I know our work continues, but there's sort of a rhythm to it right now, so I want to thank them for that. And I want to specifically thank my family, specifically my wife and my kids, for the sacrifices they make to allow me to serve. Of course, I want to congratulate the class of 2026 and their families. I agree, I'll echo the sentiments. For me, it's one of the highlights of the year, the energy in that building. As someone who's had a child walk across that stage, it's a very special moment for friends, family, and the entire community. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. And then I want to say thank you to all the teachers, staff, administrators, families, and members of the community who have supported our students and the district. I hope everyone has a great summer, and we look forward to seeing them back in the fall.
Okay. Congratulations to the class of 2026. I'm sad not to be there tomorrow. I never got to experience a graduation until I attended as a school board member because of circumstances. So I didn't go to my GED graduation. Maybe I could have, but I should have, but I didn't. And I think one of the coolest things that I will always take with me was walking into the room. And on the first year, I didn't really know anybody, any of the kids that were graduating. But it was like walking into a group of kindergartners, and it was just so cool to see all of them. They were just so giddy. The energy, like you were talking about the energy, it was something I've never experienced before. And then as the years gone, like, you know, I think I've gone to 3 so far, and it's just, and then it was cool to see my friends' kids, and then, you know, and this year it's hitting me because these are the kids that when my daughter started as a kindergartner, these are the 5th graders, and so I know a lot of them, and it's just wild. But congratulations. I will always say that graduating high school is not a given. It is a heck of a journey, and there are so many circumstances. So to any of the students who were not able to graduate because of certain circumstances, you do still matter. We still celebrate whatever journey you've been on and hope for the best. And for all the other kids, no matter where they're going, just I hope for the best, and wish you the best of luck. I do have to read. I just can't look around because I'm going to get emotional. This part is really hard, so I'm just going to read, okay? After much reflection and with a very heavy heart, I am announcing my resignation from my seat as a school board member. The reason for my resignation should not come as a surprise. Over the past 3 years, I've openly discussed in our meetings and emails the barriers I have often faced. When I was sworn in, I promised to use my voice to advocate for every student and our staff members and to help ensure a safe and inclusive environment for all. I also took an oath to represent my constituents honestly and courageously. While I understand there may be disappointment or confusion surrounding this decision, I leave knowing I remain true to those commitments. I was an advocate before this role, and I will continue to be one after it. When I ran for school board, I identified a need for stronger communication and transparency. I believe that by serving on the board, I would be able to better understand district decisions while helping elevate the voices and experiences shared by students, parents, and staff. Instead, I encountered repeated barriers to open dialogue, transparency, and meaningful discussion. Efforts to place issues on agendas often required months of follow-up, and too often concerns raised by our community felt dismissed or minimized. I was especially discouraged by the inability of our current processes to genuinely hear staff and student voices. The board is elected to serve alongside the community, not separate from it. We should be hearing directly from students, staff, and families, not solely through the lens of administration. Seeking a full understanding of an issue should never be treated as an inconvenience. Over time, these breakdowns in communication and transparency limited my ability to effectively advocate for the community I was elected to serve. If I may leave the board with one suggestion, it is this. Please prioritize curiosity, transparency, and an open board dialogue. I know we get offered one-on-ones, but I have often stressed in our various groups the immense importance of our various perspectives to come together in one room and to hold conversations in one room. And we often do not have that opportunity. We should absolutely value the expertise of our administration. Absolutely. But that should never supersede the lived experiences of our students, our staff, our parents, and the broader community, especially our students. The makeup of our table at the moment symbolizes who is being centered in our discussions. I hope in the future, the table changes a little bit. It's gonna seat board members, student board members, and maybe there's a possibility to bring various staff members' voices to the table during discussions that impact day-to-day life inside the classroom. Just kind of like what you guys were talking to, right? As many of our decisions do affect those two groups, they are the only ones who can speak to the direct impacts of those decisions. To the incoming student board members, this made it an especially hard decision for me. This was truly the last thing that has kept me here for a while, was this last effort. And so I thank you guys for joining me with that, with my ask for it. Rob, I appreciate all of the effort. You made it such a great experience. I told my close friends that was not lost on me that the majority of the time that we were doing our interviews, the diversity in the room was incredible. The way that we were able just to like take these kids in and just really hear them, and it was so inspiring, and I appreciate all the effort and the care that you put into it. I feel that, especially with that type of momentum, I'm not saying anyone else here does not have the same, but I've only experienced it from Rob. I do feel that they're going to be okay and they're going to be heard. And I want them to hear that their voices matter deeply, and every decision that's made at this table directly impacts their lives. So their experiences are valid, they're important, and they are deserving of the space and respect. And I really hope that this board encourages that sort of culture that really, really allows them and lifts them to be able to do their job. Their new roles on the board, they bring me so much hope, and I cannot wait to see what they accomplish. My board members, again, the decisions we make affect countless lives and should never be taken lightly. Asking questions is not disruptive. It is our responsibility. We owe the community more than the bare minimum. We must continue asking ourselves, have we truly listened to the people most affected by our decisions? Have our actions made their lives any better? Please do not allow the fear of changing the status quo stop this board from making impactful decisions and changes. Thank you.
I will start by saying happy summer and happy graduation. On March 2nd, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I've not recovered from my first flare yet. I'm told it could take a year if I'm careful to manage my stress. On a different school board, a disease that is exacerbated by stress might have been manageable for me. My partner was the school board vice president in the town we moved here from. I've witnessed a curious, collaborative, communicative school board in action. When a school board has a unique identity separate from district administration, goals which center its students and teachers, and an administration that caters to it and not the other way around, I've seen school board work add more value than stress to board members' lives. It has become impossible for me to manage stress while sitting on this school board. When I ask for items to be placed on agendas and try to bring forth community questions and concerns for discussion as a board, I'm met with disbelief, defensiveness, tone policing, vague legal threats, the implication that I'm incapable of understanding how things work, and worst of all, silence. These are tactics used within frameworks of white supremacy, meant to instill fear rather than collaboration. You may recall that I polled the board at the last meeting about discussing the Women's History Month social media post about Sarah McBride. There was consensus to do so, and yet that discussion didn't make it on this agenda. I wasn't communicated with about why it's missing or when it might appear in the future. If it ever is included on an agenda, it will be a minimum of 3 months since it was posted and the community asked us to respond to the hate speech against our beloved trans community members. If it doesn't get on an agenda, our trans community and their loved ones and allies will have effectively been silenced in favor of allowing space for hatred, bigotry, and a lack of education. On the rare occasion this community does receive a response to its questions and concerns from this board, those responses come from one singular voice amongst us. At our board workshop last year, a commitment to seeking my feedback and perspective on issues was made. I suspect some of your interests are given opportunities to be represented in our board communications, but that commitment to me has never been fulfilled. I've never been offered an opportunity to be heard. We like to say that we as a board are taking community feedback seriously, only none of it ever ends up on an agenda to allow us the opportunity to collectively consider it. If things go the way they usually do when I speak, these statements will be met with defensiveness rather than curiosity, creating perfect conditions for us to dodge accountability for how our decisions get made. The one thing I was able to accomplish during my year on this board was getting pads and tampons stocked in bathrooms at Batavia High School. Up until a few weeks ago, students were reporting that the only way to obtain menstrual products at BHS was to walk to the nurse's office. There's evidence that menstrual products have not been supplied in the bathrooms for some time, despite the law which says they must be. While ultimately the empty machines seem to have been stocked and the broken ones seem to have been replaced, when I brought this concern to administration, I was met with pushback there too. I suppose it got resolved because I didn't bring it before the board and the public. It was addressed without transparency, communication, or accountability, but it was addressed. It's been extremely stressful for me since before my health took a turn to bring any community voice to this table. In my attempts to fulfill my duty to identify with and represent the needs and desires of our community, I've been effectively silenced as a board member at nearly every turn. It's not possible for me to do school board work alongside an administration that insists it's always learning, always growing, and yet is somehow always right. It's not possible for me to do this work with folks who for the most part seem fine centering administration's needs and desires over the communities. I'm incredibly sad to say I can no longer bear the stress of operating from my voiceless seat at this table. I can no longer tolerate asking questions that never get answered. It was my intention to do this board work in conjunction with the other work I do in my personal life, but I found that instead of being belonged by this school district, I'm consistently placed outside of it. It takes from me more than I'm allowed to give to it. Had I not been diagnosed with a chronic illness, I might have been able to continue speaking to ears that refuse to hear and minds that refuse to simply learn something new. But in my present circumstances, I cannot. I am also resigning effective at the close of this meeting. One thing I've learned is that I can be heard and affect change outside of this space. I will rejoin our community as a parent, a queer person, a disabled person, and a community advocate whose voice should be valuable to a district who counts among its goals belonging and diversity. I'll watch for and seize opportunities to amplify our students, teachers, and community's voices. Congratulations are due to Board Member Sliger for bringing student voices to this table. You've faced all the barriers I have and more in improving accountability, transparency, and communication in this district. I hope you feel appreciated for the hard work you did to make student voices heard. I hope the students appointed to these positions are protected, listened to with curiosity, and actively belonged to this space by this board. Thank you to the teachers who've been brave enough to speak with me even when you've seen me being silenced and discredited. Your support has been super meaningful. I hope someday this board will have an understanding of what our teachers' needs and desires are. I wish I could have understood that better during my time on the board and been a better advocate for you, but I felt largely shut out of your spaces too. I hope whoever replaces me in this seat will have awareness and understanding of the carefully crafted barriers to bringing meaningful conversations before you. I hope you'll be able to overcome those barriers better than I am. It's with deep regret, disappointment, and sadness that I vacate this seat. It's out of concern for my health and the harm I am surely doing that I refuse to continue operating in the ways I am forced to here. I'm grateful to our community for electing me and making clear you want your voices heard. Thank you for giving me this platform for a year. I hope I can be more effective alongside you in making Batavia's school district one that we all deserve, one where community needs and desires and educational matters are represented in good faith, one that works for all and not just a powerful few, one that doesn't add stress to people's lives but relieves it. Our community has brought many issues before this board that have not been addressed. Queer acknowledgement and inclusion, technology, screen time, and cell phone usage, curriculum, class sizes, the value of a teacher outside of just their licensure, reductions in staff that could prove disastrous for our most vulnerable students, and more. I hope someone on this board or someones on this board do have a voice that is heard, and that you will respond to this community about what matters to it. Our community, and that includes students, parents, teachers, staff, neighbors, friends, everybody, deserves to be centered in the ways our policy and the Illinois Association of School Boards requires. Thank you.
Thank you. I am only going to do two things. One is congratulations to everyone at the conclusion of their educational journey, whatever that is. And to those that are moving on, as Kristen said, to college, trade, year off, or straight into the job force. One part that I do have in the speech that I am honored to be able to kind of give a part of tomorrow is I just want to kind of say there's bulldogs everywhere. My son, like Rob, though this is my son's third graduation that I went to as he worked his way toward law school, and he tells me it's his final one. He was telling me a story that he goes, oh, I got a funny call the other day. And I said, yeah, what was? He said, well, do you remember blah, blah, blah? I can't remember her name right now. And he said, kind of, sort of. And he says, yeah, I kind of knew her, but he was like, oh, I'm graduating with her from Colorado Law in Boulder. And so she is a fellow classmate of his that he went on separate journeys through their kind of educational career and ended up in Boulder at the same time at the same place. He did not know her very well. She did not know him very well, but she took it upon herself to call him to let him know that if he had not already done some things he needed to do about transitioning his license and getting some data that he needed to apply for the bar, to start now, because it could take like 6 months to get, and that would be past his deadline for the bar. Fortunately for him, he had not transferred his license as far. She jumped right into, I'm going to live in Colorado. My son took about a year into this until he got his in-state tuition, and then he got his Colorado driver's license. So I was just remarked that, someone reached out, a fellow classmate from 8 years prior of his last graduation took the time to give him a call to talk about a challenge and an issue that he had. And no matter where you go, I think oftentimes there are bulldogs there that are taking a lot from this world and this space and being able to bring it back to each other. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved, Rob.
Second.
Second by Aaron. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is now 9:32 PM, and the meeting is adjourned.